How's it going, folks? It is Matt back with another crypto video. Today is a video on DigiByte, and we're going to talk about DigiAssets. I have an article that Josiah Spackman wrote. I'm going to read through a little bit of that kind of details what DigiAssets is. We'll talk about why people or companies may choose to use DigiAssets in comparison to other projects that are out there. And then at the end of the video, I'll throw out some use cases of DigiAssets that I've thought of that maybe haven't been thought of at this moment or haven't been talked about all that much in like a public setting, I guess. So as a reminder, today's video is brought to you by ChangeAngel.io, the swap exchange for social good. If you have some Bitcoin, Litecoin, or any of the other projects listed on ChangeAngel and you want to exchange it for DigiByte or anything else they have listed, this is the exchange to do so. I reported last that they were going to be adding 5 new projects to the exchange. That has already taken place. They added Potcoin, Redcoin, Viacoin, Dogecoin, and Ravencoin. So those are the 5 new projects listed on ChangeAngel, and they also donate back to the projects that you swap to. So if you use this exchange and you're swapping for DigiByte or you're swapping for Redcoin, ChangeAngel donates back to those projects so they can continue to develop. So just using this exchange helps contribute to the projects that you like and support. ChangeAngel also has 2 giveaways going on at this moment. They're giving away 5,000 DigiByte to celebrate the DigiByte Awareness Team's first birthday, 1-year anniversary. It started 1 year ago from last Saturday. I was going to make a video to kind of talk about that, but I was actually in the middle of digging a hole in my backyard to put in a patio. So that's why I've kind of been quiet over the past couple of days. But I'll provide a link to this tweet so you can compete in this competition. Rules are right here. You just need to retweet it, complete 1 swap on ChangeAngel.io, and email your transaction ID and Twitter handle to dean@ChangeAngel.io. The second giveaway, ChangeAngel has teamed up with Kryptoz. They sell cryptocurrency socks, and you have a chance to win 3 pairs of cryptocurrency socks. You'd get 1 pair of DigiByte socks, 1 pair of Dogecoin, and 1 pair of Litecoin socks. To enter, you just need to follow ChangeAngel.io, follow Kryptoz, like and retweet this post, and they will announce the winner on May 26th. So again, I'll provide a link to both of these tweets in the description so you can participate if you want to. Before we get into the DigiAssets news, this is a video from the DigiByte Unlimited Network that I actually voiced over. It's part of his Crypto School mini-series, and in this episode I talk about how different ways to secure your digital assets. So it's a perfect video for newcomers to the space that are kind of unfamiliar with wallets or hardware wallets or paper wallets, stuff like that. So if you want to watch this, I'm going to play it for you. If you do not want to watch it, feel free to fast forward 3 minutes and 25 seconds and pick up right when we get into DigiAssets. So here is that video. Securing digital assets is a challenge because digital assets are not an abstract reference to value like a balance in a bank account. Users have no recourse for lost assets, just as if they had dropped cash on the ground. Digital assets are different from anything that has come before, and we must consider new ways of securing our wealth. The most important principle for securing our digital assets is to stay within the network security model. Simply put, don't give control of your private keys away unless you trust that party very deeply. Exchanges and off-blockchain processes expose your assets to vulnerabilities of traditional financial networks by assuming control of your private keys and/or assets. As long as you keep your private keys guarded and your assets within the network, your assets will remain secure. Here are some storage tips to keep your digital assets safe and secure. One method of securing your digital assets is in physical form. An effective method for protecting digital assets is to convert the private keys into physical form. This is as simple as recording your private keys on paper, etched on coins, or transcribed onto any medium of the user's choosing. These are called paper wallets. For example, a user may choose to keep several copies of a paper wallet in several different safes. The most secure way of securing your digital assets would be using a hardware wallet. Unlike a desktop or smartphone wallet, a hardware wallet's sole purpose is to hold digital assets securely. An example of this is the Elipal hardware wallet. Your private keys are safely stored within the hardware wallet, and they never touch the internet. When securing your digital assets, you also want to balance the risk. While it is important to keep your digital assets safe, it's also important not to go too far and end up losing your wealth. A famous awareness project lost 7,000 bitcoins in 2010 due to their implementation of a complex series of encrypted backups, which led to the team losing their encrypted keys and a fortune. When securing digital assets, you also want to diversify. You wouldn't carry around all your money around as cash in your wallet, would you? So it's advised not to store all of your assets in one place. Make multiple wallets and multiple private keys. Multi-sig is another effective way of securing your digital assets. Companies are encouraged to use multi-signature technology, which requires more than one person to provide a private key in order to access digital assets. This ensures that one rotten board member can't run off with all of the company's funds. The last tip for securing digital assets is survivability. We are taught to create complicated passphrases and schemes to secure our crypto, but what happens if we pass away suddenly? It's important to make your crypto recoverable post-mortem, perhaps with a trusted attorney or family member. In conclusion, UTXO digital asset users can learn from tips discussed here and enjoy a secure and trouble-free network experience. Thank you for listening to DigiByte Crypto School. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. So there you have it. That was the most recent episode from the Crypto School created by the DigiByte Unlimited Network. I had a great time voicing over this video for him, and I look forward to any future collaborations. If he wants me to continue voicing over his videos, I will absolutely do so. So getting into DigiAssets, this article was written by Josiah Spackman called Building Value on DigiByte. And I'll provide a link to this in the description so you can read the entire article yourself. He breaks down basically all the different projects out there. He says, what does Bitcoin do best? He breaks that down. What does Ethereum do differently? What does XRP do differently? What does Bitcoin Cash do differently? What does Litecoin do differently? What does EOS do differently? And then ultimately, what does DigiByte do differently? And what's our point of difference? So if somebody is going to buy DigiByte right now, they're likely wanting to speculate on the price, as has been the case with almost everything above. Despite all the best intentions in the world, the primary reason you would want to own any cryptocurrency right now is price speculation. And that's true. Like, the less than 1% of us that are invested in crypto at this time, absolutely we bought it because we think it's going to increase in value. But we need to change that and give people a reason to want DigiByte over and above price speculation. We need to give people a really compelling reason to have some DigiByte on their cell phone that they will use regularly, and talking about at least weekly, if not ideally daily. So he's saying, don't get me wrong, peer-to-peer electronic cash is an admirable goal, and not one which we should forget. We do it better than any of the aforementioned by a long shot. And that said, I believe we need more. We already have DigiID, which is amazing. It's a perfect carrot to get people interested, and having the likes of AntimID built on top is a fantastic value proposition and is being built into Coinomi. However, that doesn't require any DigiByte to use, and that's by design. We want to encourage the genuine use of the blockchain, as it is this genuine use that I think is going to kill two birds with one stone. One, be strengthening the value of the DigiByte by improving the hash power, and two, accomplishing the goal of changing the world. So, to give you an idea of the numbers around how much blockchains have been utilized, he grabbed some transaction stats as of May 15th, 2019. So they're just a couple days old for comparison versus their market cap. So Bitcoin, over 416,000 transactions with a market cap of 145 billion. Litecoin, 416 million. Litecoin, 33 million transactions, 6.4 billion market cap. DigiByte, 19 million transactions with a $0.16 billion market cap. So despite this small sample size, there's seemingly no direct correlation between the market cap and the number of transactions on a blockchain. Bitcoin has a 5-year head start. Litecoin has a 3-year head start. And I feel this raises some good food for thought. there's been less than 20 million transactions on-chain for DigiByte. That's not including buy and sell on exchanges that happens locally on their own database. Let's presume an impossible best-case scenario that each of those is a unique user of DigiByte, and let's also presume that they were all Americans. So presuming there's around 360 million Americans, this means that only 1 in every 18 has ever actually used or bought DigiByte, which is roughly 5%. And in reality, it's far, far lower due to the fact that a lot of the holding happens on exchanges, and that wouldn't count for miners mining and then sending to an exchange to sell it. So we've got a lot of work to do to get DigiByte in the hands of the world, clearly. But we need to give them a reason to want it, even if it's just 10 DigiByte each. If we got half of all Americans, which would be 180 million users, and didn't account for the rest of the world using it at all, then this would be 1.8 billion DigiByte that people have. If 180 million Americans have 10 DigiByte each, 1.8 billion DigiByte in their wallets. That is being used, and that's out of circulation for speculative trading. And it's being used as cash, or that's making an impact on the world. So that would be over 15% of the current circulating supply of DigiByte, just by having half of Americans owning 10 DigiByte. So anyways, back to my discussion with my friend, we got brainstorming about the value proposition of DigiByte. We want something over and above payments, because the simple matter of the fact is that most people are actually quite okay with their bank and credit cards at this moment. And again, though we excel in this area, there are other though we excel in this area more so than all the projects listed above this, there are other reasons to add value to DigiByte, and that being DigiAssets. So DigiAssets, in my mind, will be one of the catalysts that encourages people to broadly take up DigiByte and blockchain as a whole. It's not just enough to be able to do this, as you can already do it on Ethereum. We need to build on an existing or develop new advantages. So one would be on-chain scaling. 2, a low-cost barrier to entry, as it's easier to get involved with DigiByte than it is Ethereum. So number 3 being true decentralization of the blockchain. 4, easy-to-use solutions. 5, well-documented platform. And 6, simple and sexy mobile offering. So he's going to break these points down, 1 being on-chain scaling. We already do this. We do it better on-chain than any other looked at previously and this is a huge boon for us. Scalability is going to be one of the most important factors in the adoption of cryptocurrency. Ethereum, like it or not, it can only handle roughly 20 transactions per second, which is great for the current use, the amount of users using it. But what happens when 10%, 20%, 30% of the world or more it starts using Ethereum and it can only handle 20 to 25 transactions per second? It's just simply not practical to be used at scale. So 2, the low-cost barrier to entry, where a DigiByte is currently valued at just under a cent and a half. Even if the price went up 100,000 times, the cost of getting 1 DigiByte is not going to be prohibitive, especially given people could still happily have just 0.01 DigiByte in their wallet and still be able to use DigiAssets. So 3, true decentralization of the blockchain, where others such as EOS only run with 21 block producing nodes, or there are 4 times producers that mine over 50% of the blocks for Bitcoin and Litecoin. DigiByte has something like 5 times the number of miners over the last 1,000 blocks compared to Bitcoin. So the network is truly decentralized, spread over 200,000 different nodes. Number 4, an easy-to-use solution. The likes of EOS and Ethereum basically throw everything at the developer and the end user, including the kitchen sink. We want DigiAssets to be a lot simpler while still retaining a lot of the power of our asset issuance. We do this already because we are not a turning complete solution. But we intentionally do have limitations, despite these limitations not affecting the majority of our intended DigiAsset usage scenarios. So number 5 being a well-documented platform. Documentation has been a key aspect of this too, with a recent video from a popular crypto YouTuber, Hasoshi, talking about the documentation needed for people to be able to develop and build DigiAssets. This is something that has been worked but needs to remain a focal point. So number 6, the simple and sexy mobile offering. Our mobile app is arguably one of the sexiest in the industry, Demir did an amazing job with the contest-winning design, and Yoshi and Ploin, not sure if I pronounced that name right, sorry, and GTO 90 and Noah have brought that design to life. The initial MVP, which is the minimal viable product release, including DigiAssets, will be out soon, supporting and sending, receiving, and issuance coming later. There are plans to further streamline the asset experience and bring it to front and center within the apps. So we've got a bunch of points of differences. So what now? We just need assets. Now we need awesome ways to use DigiAssets and encourage people to have a small amount of DigiByte on their phone to use these DigiAssets. DigiByte is going to be the gas that powers DigiAssets, with a small amount used when you send and issue them. So you're sent a DigiAsset, that's fine, it's free, but to send it on somewhere else or trade it or redeem it, etc., you need to have your own small amount of DigiByte in your wallet to be able to do so. So we need practical ways that we can use DigiAssets on a day-to-day basis to get everybody having small amounts of DigiByte in their mobile phones. So he goes on to talk about what it is you can do to help spread the awareness of DigiAssets or DigiByte. He's saying, let's maintain our significant lead in the payments arena, but I would like to recommend that we also think of practical ways DigiAssets can be utilized and talk about with companies about implementing DigiAssets. So he goes on to point out a couple of ideas that he's had. One of the good ideas would be loyalty points. So say you're going to a coffee shop and you buy a coffee. Every time you purchase a coffee, that coffee shop could issue you 1 loyalty point. And then after you visit that coffee shop 9 or 10 times and you've earned 9 or 10 loyalty points, you can cash in those loyalty points for a free coffee. That's a definitely very simple to use and a very good way to use DigiAssets. He's also pointed out you could use trading cards. So I'm trying to find the section where he actually talked about it. So trading cards are relatively straightforward to get the ball rolling. Everything from sports cards, virtual pets, traditional game cards, and more could all be issued on DigiAssets. Anything from Pokemon cards to MLB to Munchkin to Magic the Gathering, they could all easily be issued as DigiAssets, allowing for transparency of the supply and certainty that they won't be reissued or duplicated or forged in any way. So I've also thought of some of my own ways that DigiAssets could be utilized. They could be utilized in fractional ownership. As an example, this is a picture of a coffee farm. So let's say this coffee farmer, he's got all of these rows of trees producing coffee, but let's say he wants to buy a piece of land way out over here to increase his production, and maybe that land is just a little bit too expensive. So this coffee owner could issue his own DigiAssets and actually sell off portions of his coffee farm. So let's say he wants to sell 100 rows of coffee. People around the entire planet will have the ability to invest whatever amount of money they want and own a portion of one of these rows of coffee, and by holding that asset, they are entitled to the profit generated from that row. And it's a win-win. It allows the coffee farmer to raise the funding he would need to purchase new land to expand his operation, and everyone that is invested in it, it would give them an opportunity to earn passive income simply by holding that DigiAsset. Another example would be, it's similar to what Josiah said about the loyalty rewards, but coupons. Stores could issue their own coupons for certain amounts of money off of certain products. Like Kellogg's could issue a DigiAsset coupon where it's like buy one, get one free, buy one, get one half off, etc. You get the idea. Coupons could be a very easy way to use DigiAssets, and they can't be duplicated or forged, so it prevent people from kind of scamming or taking advantage of the system. Other examples could be stocks. I know this has been talked about before, people tokenizing assets or tokenizing the stock market, but it's definitely a valid and very real use case of DigiAssets. To companies could, instead of issuing stocks the way they traditionally do now, their stocks could become a token that could be easily transferred, easily sent and spent, traded, sold, whatever, all within a mobile wallet that the user has in their hand. Another example of DigiAssets could be used for school lunches. I know, like at a college or something, each student typically has, it's like a little credit card type thing where it's already preloaded with their meal plan where they can spend 2 or 3 meals per day at the dining hall, that could easily become a DigiAsset, which could reduce the cost of the lunch as a whole. One, because the school no longer has to issue or manufacture and issue these cards for people to carry around. People won't lose them. People can't steal someone's card and buy a lunch on someone else's dime. It could definitely benefit the whole system, and even in terms of like government assistance for people that qualify for that in school lunches, where you may qualify for a free school lunch. You could be issued a DigiAsset to pay for that lunch that has been given to you by the government, and that could go much bigger than school lunches as well, as far as government assistance like Medicaid, food stamps, WIC. All of these different government assistance programs could all issue their own DigiAsset, and it would essentially help eliminate the fraud or the abuse of the system, where people can't just sell their food stamps to other people because it's an actual DigiAsset that's in their phone, and they could only spend it at the point of sale. So you can't really scam the system in that sense. And why people may choose to utilize the DigiByte blockchain as opposed to Ethereum, EOS, or other smart contracting platforms out there, I kind of already touched on it, and it really comes down to transaction speed. As you can see this graph, I'm sure some of you have probably already seen it. Bitcoin can handle 3 to 7 transactions per second. Bitcoin Cash, 28 to 34 transactions per second. Litecoin, 56 transactions per second. And DigiByte, 560 transactions per second. Now, these three, they are working on something called the Lightning Network to increase their transaction speed. DigiByte does not need the Lightning Network, as it can scale on chain. Every 2 years, the transaction speed doubles automatically, keeping all the transactions on the blockchain. So while DigiByte does 560 transactions per day or per second today, actually later in 2019, that's going to double to 1,120 transactions per second. And then again, every 2 years after this year, it's just going to keep doubling up until 2035, when DigiByte will be able to process 280,000 transactions per second on chain. And that's a big deal, and that's going to be what's needed to support mass adoption of cryptocurrency. Yes, Ethereum was first to market in the smart contract realm. They certainly pioneered new concepts, new ideas, and new ways to use blockchain and cryptocurrency. But with their limited capacity to scale at this time, it's just not practical for mass adoption. Again, like I was saying, what if 10%, 20%, 30 or more percent of the world starts using Ethereum in the smart contracting platform? It's just simply not going to work, because people are going to be waiting hours or days for transactions to complete, and that's just not practical, and it does not improve on the current system. So that is why I think DigiByte stands a chance to gain that adoption, if anything, just simply out of necessity, because it's one of the few projects that can actually handle the amount of volume that's going to be pumping through these blockchains coming up in the coming years. So that will wrap up today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to get notifications, like it, share it, leave a comment, and I'll see you guys later.